Hey everyone, welcome back. Shadowlands is out. We've been pure blasting, and to be honest, it has been just so damn great to get actually stuck into things. Now, with this being our first post-launch Saturday, that means we're back to the regular World of Warcraft news, where there really is quite a bit to talk about. So, the Shadowlands launch, a bit of our Night 1 quest, Blizzard's various changes to the Shadowlands, what you've actually got to do on week 1, which is something that a lot of people are wondering about from what I can tell, plus a bunch more. Classic has got news, we've got lore to digest, and a few familiar faces. Yeah, there's so much. Now also, this month is almost over, and that does mean that if you want to be in for our Patreon loot, which is the Demon Hunter class pin, the 2020 edition channel pin, and of course, art and the sticker, then now is the time. And your support just in 2020 has been absolutely incredible. It has enabled so much, right? I mean, wow, last August, we had or maybe slightly before that, we had 3 people on the YouTube team. Now it's 8, right? And thanks to Rory and John coming on in the last 2 and a bit months, our now 6-man strong Warcraft team, let's just say we've got very, very big plans now that Shadowlands is out. And just on that, seeing the really good reactions to Shadowlands thus far is a real treat. It has got us really damn fired up to make content for you. So, patrons, that is what is up for this month. Thank you. Let's get into the news. There was certainly some trepidation going into launch night, okay, with, the linear leveling, worries about bottlenecks, but luckily, bar the general chaos, there was only really 2 major sticking points. First, Through the Fire and Flames in Maldraxxus included a lootable sword on a 6-minute respawn, so that wasn't super ideal. And then, of course, we had Mothbane, who was a little bit of a problem in Ardenweald, but only for people who really rushed because Ian tweeted about it and then it got fixed pretty damn quickly. And really, it didn't take long for those core problems to be fixed, though generally we did find quite a few bugs. I mean, they were shippable bugs, but they were still bugs. Stuff like, getting the NPC to actually trigger when you're doing the Death's Door stuff in Revendreth. I found that bug, in Alpha. It's still there. Bit weird, but anyway. Past that, there were some other issues. A number of servers, Illidan, Draenor, some of them just flat out died and people couldn't play. But it really was an all-or-nothing experience there. We had one of the smoothest expansion launches ever on Ravencrest EU. Very much unlike my old server of Draenor EU, which of course went down. So it's tricky. If your server was okay, then chances are you had a pretty damn incredible experience. I mean, the login queues were actually, it seems like they dealt with that capacity pretty well. Server lag and stuff like that wasn't even that bad either. I was really quite impressed. Now, of course, while all that stuff was going down and our squad was in Maldraxxus, Monkey Tool of Alakir EU had already hit level 60, taking that world first. Now, they did it with a 6-man team in just 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's with 5 people running Necrotic Wake and 1 remaining level 51, so that they could party queue after cap. Yeah, I mean, obviously a pretty unique circumstance there. Then Batsu DK actually took the honor of the world first to level 60 without using party sync. So that was pretty interesting stuff. You really can level quickly if you set your mind to it. Now, the launch did exacerbate another odd thing, which was phasing. Changes meant that players needed to return to a sanctuary, like Oribos, before updating to their leader's phase. That was very jarring, you're sitting there, you're at the dungeon stone, and you're like, cool. Where's the rest of my party? It was a jarring experience, and the good news is it's one that has actually been reverted. It's been fixed, so it's all back to normal now. So, what about when you actually hit max level then? Well, that's where there was also a little bit of a change made to the game, and also quite a lot of things for us to do. Night 1 was, of course, all about getting to level 60 and joining our covenants. Soon, though, it was, of course, about progress, and that's been really, really fun. For us, that's just the type of people we are. For us, that meant getting into PvP and heroics before the reset, into mythics after the reset, but there was a surprise change to the game. The souls, the weekly go collect your souls from the Maw quest that gives 1 renown, didn't appear. So initially we thought that it would be Renown 4 by the end of week 1. That was doing, you know, your intro Covenant stuff and 2 weeklies, which would take you from Renown 1 to Renown 4. Didn't happen though. The Souls Weekly will not be appearing until next reset. That just means that week 2 will take us to Renown 6, which is just shy of the PvP upgrades that I really had been targeting. It's a strange change though, but there you go. Blizzard made it. We don't know why they made it, but that's what it is. So, with that said, let's talk about maxing out week 1. Going through Twitter mentions and the odd mail, a lot of people are just hitting cap in Shadowlands. They're like, wow, I've got a Covenant, I've got this, I've got that, the mob, what do I do? Well, let's actually talk about week 1. So, first, obviously, you get to level 60, you join your Covenant of choice, and you complete all of that introductory content. Now, doing that includes, unlocking your Covenant things like your soul binds, and then, of course, building some of your, building up some of your Covenant, like your command table, your travel network, your anima conductor, your Covenant-specific activity. Then, of course, shortly after that, you're also unlocking the Maw. You've got Venari, which is where a lot of the Maw progress is, and then Torghast and the Runecarver. And really, do all those quests to get the Runecarver, because I believe you actually need to have unlocked him and freed him in order to have legendary powers drop for you. And that's a lot of stuff, right? It's a lot to take on board, so let's just focus in on the critical things. So, get to Renown rank 3. That's your main goal. Next, you want to run every layer of Torghast that will get you, or that's available right now, that'll get you 810 Soul Ash, right? So push that to the cap. Then, of course, item level, the gear for your character. Your world quests are starting at around item level 144. There's an early 155 piece from your Covenant by doing their campaign. Heroics begin at eye level 155 for the random queue. I would recommend what we did though, which is doing heroics without the queue, because you can just walk into the dungeon manually. Though that said, like, at a low item level, we went straight to Mythic Zeros, and, we were able to cope. Sure, we had a few wipes, but yeah, it was grand. So just hop into Mythics, I'd give it a go. PvP. That's been really good. We have been loving things like the World PvP. We capped... Right, we capped 60 with 650 odd honor points because we had war mode on. We had our 30% XP bonus and we were killing boys left, right, and center. It was a blast. Beyond that, though, just doing your battleground dailies, you really will want to do that, I think. Especially, do the likes of Wintergrass Weekly, because it's got a weekly quest that gives you 1,000 honor. That's a lot of bloody honor. Now, you can turn that honor into gear. It's eye level 158, but it can be upgraded right now to 171 and eventually to a higher item level than that. And, with the World PvP being great, with the Battlegrounds giving you loads of honor, it's nice. It actually feels like that honor gearing that used to be a thing in the past of World of Warcraft is a thing you can do now. And that's really good. So consider that. Then another consideration is conduits. To be honest, they seem plentiful. Like your basic conduits, they're spawning all over the place in World Quests, so getting basic coverage of them won't be too hard. And other than that, I mean, it's just doing your dungeons, doing all of that stuff to get more conduits. So that's something that you should think about as well. And really, like, we're in the initial stages of these systems, especially like with the conduits, so you can experiment now. The stakes are low enough. But yes, basically to wrap up your week 1 activities, right? Do all of that stuff that I mentioned, right? Really just getting the core Soul Ash Renown item level. That's basically it. And then everything else is just freeform. Do whatever takes your fancy, get some mounts, whatever. It's all sort of good fun stuff. Now, if you want to get alt leveling through something like Threads of Fate, do note you will have to complete chapter 1 of the Covenant campaign first. I believe it's right when you unlock world quests that Threads of Fate will be enabled on other characters. Then, of course, next week, it's all about getting to Renown level 6, continuing gearing like we've done this week, and, if you're like us, prepping for Season 1's release on the 8th of December. Let's talk about some discoveries, because unleashing the game onto the live servers has turned up some interesting things. If you need an eye level 180 two-hander, get yourself to Maldraxxus for Sorrowbane. This was initially data mined as an item level 85 leveling weapon, but no, it scales to 180, so go get that. You can, through a fun enough little, sword in the stone interaction, pull it out of the ground from the Theater of Pain. So that's pretty sweet. Next, we keep on turning up personalities from the past. Houndmaster Loxy from Vanilla's Scarlet Monastery has been found. Of course, the Scarlets are right dickheads, so seeing him getting the once-over in Revendreth is good. Another blast from the past is the Defias Murloc Captain Cookie. He is actually, well, his body's in the Abomination Factory, ready to be worked into some sort of monstrosity. Then another more recent example is Warbrave Oro, who is in Bastion and of course died pretty early on in the High Mountain questing. Then, not quite dead, but Thessarian and Kultira Deathweaver are both hanging in Oribos. Maybe we'll see something for them in Shadowlands. It would be pretty cool to see their story be updated a bit. Now, also, we're well on our way to finding more secrets of the Shadowlands, so the Tomb of Bone Binding, which allows hunters to tame undead pets, that was discovered to drop from pretty much every mob in Maldraxxus. We quested through there, I didn't get it in my hunter, but it is a bop, so yes, you will need to just go and get killing. And then, of course, a litany of mounts have been found as well. There's, you know, feeding and comforting Blanchy in Revendreth for 7 days, and a lot of other mounts, right? You can get your Gulpy Boy, you can get your, you know, pod you can float around in. And the good news there is we have a video on every single mount in the Shadowlands expansion. It'll tell you how to get absolutely all of them. We're working on it right now. It'll be out soon enough. Moving on, lore. There's a lot to unpack over the coming weeks, but let's have a brief look at some of the critical points. So, we now know Sylvanas' motivations, sort of, in that cinematic. I mean, we already knew what she was up to, right? Like, I think that cinematic is actually just there to get people who really have no idea what's going on in the lore up to speed. And I'm not casting judgment here, right? I mean, BFA story was a big old fragmented mess, so I can't blame anyone for not picking up on what was actually going on, or, you know, reading the Sylvanas novel content. You know, please put the story in the game, please, which I guess they have done with this. But yes, basically, Sylvanas thinks of the workings of the cosmos with life and death and probably all the cosmic forces. She thinks that it's all just a big load of bull, that it's really unfair, probably that it's set up by a bunch of dickhead gods that we don't know about, that don't care about us, and she wants to basically destroy the whole thing, right? She wants to, I don't know, break the ladder or break the wheel or, I don't know, some Thronesy stuff. She wants to break all of that down, and she also says she wants to rebuild it. Now, is this Sylvanas going to take us to a utopian vision of the future where we're all going around in the transdimensional fortress Enterprise? No, I don't really think so, because yes, Sylvanas is here. Look, I am in the greater good. I've got your best interests in heart. Meanwhile, she's, you know, all dressed in black. She's got her very edgy makeup on. You know, she's covered in skulls. I mean, come on. I mean, cue the "Are we the baddies" meme, honestly. So, you know, if she really has the greater good in mind, why has she got such an overt, theatrically mustache-twirling villain thing going on? I mean, does that get her off a bit or something? I think maybe. Because, I mean, she's got this, oh, I'm actually a good guy thing going on. And who is she working with? You know, weird-looking dude with his nips out and a bunch of crazy-looking metal and chains all over him? I mean, come on, Sylvanas, you're not a good guy. You're not a good guy at all. I mean, you might think you're... Okay, I'll tell you what I really think's going on here. I think Sylvanas is actually right that this whole cosmic system is a load of bull set up by these uncaring gods who basically view us all as living fertilizer. But... I think the whole point is that Sylvanas will go about it the wrong way and that she will have to be dealt with. And suffice to say, if she gets any form of redemption arc, then man, I really doubt she'll be able to earn that as a character. And I think that would be a mistake. I think Sylvanas has got to pay for her damn crimes. And I think she's got to go out in a way that basically is like, yeah, you know all that stuff you were terrified of? Well, that is what you deserve. Yeah, I suppose all of the Sylvanas fan Twitter accounts are probably going mad at me right now. Okay, there's that. There's all the big questions, though. You know, the big red beam that took the Arbiter out. Is that Emerald Nightmare red? Is it Argus red? Well, we've got a video on that coming out. We may also have a lead on a loon. Might be to do with the Winter Queen. Or it could be a connection between Eonar and the Winter Queen. All quite fun. Then, is the Rune Carver the Primus? We're not 100% sure, but considering that his runes are the key to the Seat of the Primus and the visual similarities, we're pretty damn confident. And that does open up many questions about Zoval, the Jailer's relationship with the Eternal Ones and ultimately the mysterious First Ones. Yes, it might be confusing. We've got the Eternal Ones, we've got the First Ones. I mean, yeah, you know, that's the names of those guys. And the lore keeps coming, and we've got the Naru and Revendreth that was installed in Dawnkeep by Renathal because, well, apparently it's like the place where her kind first emerged and it's most saturated with the light. And that's all fun because when we're thinking, you know, there was an invasion of the light. We know that, but is there a more deep connection there? Is there other stuff? It's not the only example. I mean, was there other stuff to that invasion of the light? Was that maybe a last vestige of the light being there before? We obviously know the Void has had its incursions too. You know, there's a lot going on here. So, as I said, hang in tight. We're going to investigate it all. But suffice to say, there's a lot of lore. There really is. I mean, it's quite weird because there's stuff that kind of breaks the fourth wall, is self-referential, sometimes a bit tone-deaf, straight up tells us we know something because we're psychic. That was a bit weird. But then on the other side, you can see there's a lot of big ideas and well-rendered stories and, you know, the anguish of the cosmos going on. Sure does cover some ground, I'll say that much. Yeah, Blizzard's modern era of, hey, let's extrapolate this chart into a storyline while also pulling off fantasy EastEnders sure is something. I've got to be real, this stuff barely works for an MMO, so I'm going to say this. Make Warcraft 4. Just do it. Right? See this lore? Don't focus on doing it in World of Warcraft. Do it in Warcraft 4. We'll all buy it. We all will buy it. Most of us will probably buy the special edition. And look, Blizz, you'll get so much more narrative runtime in a Warcraft 4. So let's do Warcraft 4. I mean, as much as I love StarCraft 2, we also know that team is a lot more free right now. And people sure would like Blizz's RTS tradition to live on. I mean, look, right? Just look at how much lore War 3 and Frozen Throne set up. Man, War 4 would be awesome. Alright, time for some wider news. So, in a fitting coincidence, the Ancestral Scourge raid that really led to the Scourge being a big thing in World of Warcraft, that's launching on the 3rd of December. Yes, it's Naxxramas, it's coming to WoW Classic, and it heralds not just the doom, or at least the first doom of Kel'Thuzad, but also the final content phase of the Classic experience. And, I mean, yeah, man, I mean... Classic servers recently have shown the caliber of that player base. People are, you know, the progression guilds, they got their attunements complete. They are ready to shatter, just smash this raid when it comes out. And it's a pretty, you know, it's pretty interesting stuff. And of course, that will be paving the way for a Classic TBC, which will probably be announced at BlizzConline. Then, a long-time mystery has been put to bed, where the unmarked grave at the lighthouse in Westfall has been marked in the Exploring Azeroth book, which, by the way, looks really cool. So, good job, Christy Gold. I really like that stuff. Spoiler warning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, spoiler warning over. It's Terranus Manethil. Yeah, pretty cool. That book's got me excited, right? And I think it's probably more of a series of books. Come on, Exploring Kalimdor, Exploring Northrend. Yeah, like let's just see Flynn and Matthias go on their crazy, wacky romantic adventures across Azeroth. You know, good fun, right? And if these books are crammed full of these fun little details that give texture to the world, what else are we going to find out? I mean, as a lore nut, that's exciting. Content. Just want to mention stuff. Our legendary guide just went up. We've also got our guides on initial gearing, what there is to do in Shadowlands Week 1 and 2, the Covenant system, and regular leveling. We have also, we're also working on our Threads of Fate leveling guides. We're working on getting the most from the Maw and Stygia and a Torghast video, and so there'll be a bunch of that, I think, over the next week. The team have been incredible lately. I mean, oh yeah, me and Matt have been in the script dungeons. John and Nikki have been banging out a serious amount of content. Rory has been spitting wicked hot thumbnails all over the place. And, you know, yeah, just, you know, in Warcraft land, it's been a real busy time. And, you know, it's exciting. While that's been going on, Jared's been working on fun future content. And, yeah, cool plans. And, of course, the Transmog and Mount videos, which will also be coming out soon. We're really busy, and I'll tell you what, I am really hyped for when we can sit back, get more of a longer-term planned content going post-Shadowlands. It's going to be a great time for us, especially considering, not to tease you too much, but 2 of the emails that I've received in the last few days. Speculate away on that, and as you know, we do a lot more than what you see just via this camera. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the WoW news. If you want to support the team and get some cool merch, some, you know, some nice lustery things, you can check out the Patreon. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.